Hello, and welcome to the late ass edition of Magical Journey Podcast. So, a little bit of technical issues tonight, but that's okay. We got this. And there's a little difference in our topic tonight. Obviously, if you see the title. So, what happens when the house that you're living in comes with some extra features? Or the business that you just opened up has customers already there that you really weren't expecting. My guests tonight are going to talk to us about that and talk to us about their experiences with the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Austin and Lydia from the Dead Chronicles. Guys, how are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Doing okay there.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Hold on a second.
No.
What?
Messing up the flow.
What's test? You still can't hear me? Apparently not.
Everything was fine like 30 seconds ago.
Is
I
it
still can't hear you.
hold on a second. Austin, can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Lydia, are you still not able to hear me? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. What's going on here? Your mic her mic is muted and I can't unmute it for whatever reason.
Oh, there it is. It's unmuted.
Okay.
But obviously still can't hear.
Apparently not.
Might have to like leave and rejoin. I don't know.
Maybe it just muted again. Okay.
It's doing all kinds of things.
It is. Are you? I'm not sure.
Okay. Something's happening.
Something happening. So Austin, while we're trying to figure that out,
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about. Is it Friday the 13th? It is Friday the 13th, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That would explain a lot. While we're trying to sort through all that, let's talk a minute about the Dead Chronicles. Oh, she'll be back. And what you guys are about and what you do.
So we're all about bringing back history, bringing back more of a sympathetic, empathetic approach, helping out locations, things of that nature. It's kind of like a philanthropy adventure, if you will. I
can hear you.
You can hear me.
Go.
Hey,
I can hear you.
We can all hear again. That's great.
Yay.
It's good.
Yay. Thank God. So you say bringing back. When you say bringing back, what exactly are you talking about here?
Oh man, I'm talking about how a lot of the current, well, realistically, always, unfortunately, the TV shows and things of that nature, it was never about the location. It was never about the history. 99% of it was made up. There might have been some sort of truth to it, but then they take it to the extreme, and eventually, nothing is accurate. And it's all about spooky ghosts and demons and all kinds of stuff. So I guess I shouldn't say. I mean, there's a couple shows out there who do it right. By couple, I mean like maybe one, but that actually keep the factual history there. So I guess we're trying to bring it to the. I don't know.
Sort of trying to bring dignity back to it a little bit, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, and I guess the kind of issue I have is like when Paranormal TV first started, that dignity was there, but then later when you find out that it never really was there, the wool was just pulled over your eyes and it was all fake back then. You're like, oh shit. So
Right. Well, it goes, so it kind of goes back to the whole thing about the voodoo doll, where people have real high misconceptions about its origin, what it's about, what it was originally about, and all that. And and now, of course, it's it's some horrible cursed item and da da da. And so that's kind of, it seemed like to me, what kind of happened to when video took over the ghost hunting sector of our world. Video killed the ghost hunter kind of thing.
I've
So
never heard that version, but we should make that happen.
we'll make but so here's one of the things I want to ask you guys about. So when people come to you and they say, so you guys are ghost hunters, do you believe in that spirits are actually like the deceased? What is your theory on that? What do you respond to them with?
So I will start off by saying I'm definitely not a ghost hunter. I go more so the lines of paranormal. I don't know if ghosts exist. I don't know if anything exists. I have no idea. I'm a huge skeptic. Some stuff happens I can't explain. What the hell is it? I have no idea. That's why we're really trying hard to bring in different tools and tactics to explain things. So, do ghosts exist? Hell if I know. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I know, right. How can you confirm something that is so beyond? I mean, we don't even have an understanding sometimes of who or what we are. So how do you confirm something that is so outside of our understanding? Lydia, what's your thought on that? Because I know you've got a lot of you've had a lot of experiences along with Austin on this, and a lot of experience in general from past work history and so forth.
I believe, and that's kind of where Austin and I differ. Just because I can't see it right then and there doesn't mean that it's not real, right? Like, there have been tons of things that I've been like, oh my God. And Austin's like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm screaming, oh my God, this is real. And Austin's like, yeah, no, it's not. And I'm like, you son of a biscuit. Oh my Lord. But yeah, no, I can't tell somebody that what they experience isn't real, because that'd be like me saying that the sky isn't blue and the grass isn't green. I mean, perception is reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right. And that is a very big point, perception, because I think a lot of people, try to base everything on something outside of that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a ghost hunter and you go somewhere looking for ghosts, it doesn't matter where it is, you're gonna find ghosts.
Right.
100% of the time, guaranteed. Are they really ghosts? Probably, definitely not. So you said perception is 99% of the game here.
Right. And would spirit be a better term? I think, I, yes, I guess. I mean, but people think, or people hear the word spirit and they think, I mean, a lot of them think religion, like the Holy Spirit, things like that, you know? I, I don't know. I guess it just depends on who you're asking and I guess what you're talking about.
I think spirit is like I think ghost is almost like a how do I want to put it, like a derogatory term anymore, right? Like spirit sounds like the proper, I don't want to say pronoun, but however you want to put it. Like ghost to me just seems derogatory. Like, I wonder if they exist, if they're like fighting about that.
Right. We are not ghosts. We are not ghosts.
Right. How do you, I mean, you're right. It is kind of almost like a derogatory term, the way that people have thrown it around. And then, of course, you've got people who either intentionally or unintentionally kind of create an atmosphere of doubt, to say the least. I mean, classic person to throw in there, Zach Bagans. Love him, hate him. He and Ghost Adventures kind of defined how people would view the what we were doing and in this thing. At this point, I don't even have a word for it anymore.
I think that's unfortunate, though, that they defined it, like, or saying that they defined it. I mean, I hate giving them that credit because really, honestly, in all actuality, they go into a place for what, 15, 20 minutes? Like, let's be real. They
With
go
a
into a
script.
place, exactly. They are going in there to create clickbait, right? Like before clickbait was even a thing, or the thing that it is now. So it's unfortunate, and then you in turn get the demon screamers and stuff like that. So it creates a very negative thing, and it goes back to what Austin said, ghosts is a derogatory term now, and it's their fault. No, I'm just kidding.
It's true.
Or am I?
And they are the ones who popularized all of these devices we see today.
Yeah.
Like that really didn't exist before Ghost Adventures, and they like developed it for them. And now you see the Ovilus and everything else everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really do. You really do. Yeah.
We would not have ghost apps if it wasn't for Zach Baggins. Calling
it. Right.
I mean, sadly, that's probably truer than we want to think sometimes. But like I said, it's like when you, and of course, after the whole Demon House episode, I think, I mean,
was that the one he demolished?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one in
The one
Gary,
that he kept the stairs.
Yeah, I never saw it. Yes, but super haunted. Can't prove me wrong now.
Yeah, right. So haunted, he lost his eyesight or something. I don't know.
It was something about he had permanent damage to his eyesight, so he has to wear prism glasses.
Yeah,
now
special glasses
to correct that.
No, I think he was just always in need of special glasses and shush, Lydia.
It's very possible, to be honest with you, because I think the Gary House story is very interesting. I think there are some things about it that that ring truer than I feel comfortable with at times talking about. The actual possession part of it and so forth. There was things that were documented and things that were experienced there that are a little uncomfortably true in tone. And the fact that we had professionals, going on the line and putting these things in reports. I mean, kids walking up walls and stuff like that is not something you would normally, you know.
Well, I also feel like it had a lot to do with the location as well, because one, being in Gary, Indiana, the location itself, the neighborhood was
So
not a good neighborhood.
it's like the
Gary
murder capital
itself,
of the world or
it,
something, isn't it?
Gary itself is not a good place, period. So you really have to take into consideration, I mean, look at third world countries, there's possessions and demons, taking over people all the time. I mean, how many exorcisms do you hear about in third world countries? I mean, it used to happen all the time, and it probably still happens all the time. It's just not as publicized. So, if did somebody walk up the wall at the Gary Demon House? Probably. I mean, I'm not going to discredit that because one, I wasn't there. But
Mhm.
two, stranger things have happened, and I have to say 5 seasons. Thanks, Matt. Anyway, but with that being said, the area, you can't discredit everything about that house because of where it's at, period.
Right, right. And that was one of the things that I found very interesting, like the photographs and so forth that people were saying were faked and all that. Um, you, when you get when you get into an area like that, that's not a very safe area to start with, and of course the history of, Illinois, Indiana, all of those,
Hmm.
all through there is not exactly, a fun bedtime story history.
Right.
Um, I think I think it's very important for people to understand that, these phenomena, they they're definitely going to occur. Uh, when you're in those kinds of areas, I mean, you're gonna get things that um, just don't make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom's here.
Yeah, I just noticed that, Tom. Hey, um,
Sexy little man.
we so
Oh
one
my
of
God, I can't.
one of the things that Lydia, you okay?
Yeah, I just can't. Like every time Austin talks like that, I laugh uncontrollably, and I'm like really trying to tune him out right now.
It's all right.
No, it's really bad. It really is. It's so bad.
It
Anyway, go
is
on.
is just an Austin thing.
Yes, it is an Austin thing.
So one of the things I've noticed too, as far as like the evolution of the Dead Chronicles, which I love, the direction that I've seen this show start to go into, uh, is I've noticed that like the two of you together just really have a great chemistry for the show, and the um I guess just not only the flow of it, but the way that everything balances out just seems to almost like glide very smoothly is the only way I can describe it. Uh,
Yeah,
and
like a Diddy party.
Stop.
uh, hopefully a lot better than that.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Too
Um,
soon?
wow. Um,
Oh my God.
We do love Austin, Tom. He brings a lot into our worlds. He definitely does. Um, the
Oh,
but I guess the thing that really sticks out to me is like how you guys are utilizing your strengths in the show now. Um, and I feel like that is one of the things that is definitely a big help um, to the evolution of the show. Because I mean, you both are very talented in what you do. Um, and you both come from a different angle. Like Lydia, you mentioned before, like you don't really completely agree with Austin's thoughts on things from time to time. And Austin, obviously, you come from an area of skepticism that Lydia just does not dial into so much. I think that is one of the things that I've noticed that like really pulls me in whenever I'm watching you guys work. Um, it's very interesting too, like when we were all doing the one thing at the old stone jail and we ran into that cloud of cologne. Oh, Lydia disappeared again.
Yep.
Um, we ran into that cloud of cologne and there was just that moment where I was kind of like, what is this?
Hmm.
And we're back again.
sorry, Mabel kicked me out. She's literally behind, and
Mabel's
she's
like,
like,
you're done.
she's like, no, pay attention to me.
Aw. But yeah, there was that moment where we were there and there was that weird whatever was going on there with the cologne. And it was kind of like, are you getting this? Is this, do you smell this too? Or is this just, did I have a stroke or something? What's going on here? You know, and there was like, you acknowledged that it was there, but at the same time, you were kind of like looking like, I don't know. I don't know what happened here. And so I get that. I get that. Like, it's very important, I think, in a way to have, that kind of almost opposite, polar opposite thing going on because you don't want the thing that I find very almost damning to an investigation is when two people jump on the bandwagon on something and they do it in a way that's obviously is not feeling natural.
Yeah.
Like they're doing it for the kind of doing it for the lulz, so to say. It's like, what do you, how do you get past that? You can't, and so in when you guys are working together, when you decide on where you're going, what your objective is, how does that play out? How do you kind of go in an agreement? Is there that kind of struggle between the two forces sometimes? Do we really want to do this? I don't know if this is a great idea. I mean, how does all that play out in your decision making?
There really is no, I mean, honestly, I'll get a message from him and he'll be like, hey, and there'll be a location and I'm like, oh, okay. I look into it and I'm like, hey, this looks interesting. Or he'll be like, hey, this looks interesting. And I'll be like, you want me to book it? And he's like, yeah, why not? And then we book it. Mabel does need her own square. Yes. Um, but anyway, yeah, it's when we go into places, it's not even there. I don't want to say there is no question. There's really no thought that goes into it either, except for looking up the history, Austin will get some stuff from other people, if other people that he knows have been to said location, and then we just do it. Like we always say that we're going to plan better, but it doesn't happen. Like we are better flying by the seat of our pants, I guess. I mean, honestly, that's that's where we're at. Am I wrong?
No, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. 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 And most of the time I don't know what he's thinking, like what his angle is. And I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do now? And he's like, oh, just sit here. And I'm like, okay. So you never know with Austin what he's thinking in a location. And I think that's the beauty of it, because I'm not muddled by his thought process. And I don't even think he has a thought process at that point. I hate to say that, but I mean, I think he just goes and is like, okay, whatever we get, we get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't care about the paranormal side. I mean, I do when I'm investigating, but when we go to a place, I mean, if it looks cool, I'm like, oh, that place looks cool.
Yeah.
I can get some cinematic shots there. Okay. And then all of a sudden over her, I'm like, is it cool?
Yeah.
And then she'll look into the history and might be like, yeah, it's cool. I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Done. Because I mean, no matter what, there's always a story to every location. And if there's a story there, I will go there whether or not it's haunted.
Yeah.
Because even if it is like, oh, this place is super spooky, haunted all the time, chances are you're not going to get anything anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So don't bank on the paranormal. Bank on the story. That's the way I look at it. Like, I just want to tell the history, and if something happens, something happens. Cool. Like, I'm not going to force something to happen. I'm not going to, whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah. The thing that I think this is one of the things that annoys me about the popularity of the whole ghost hunting thing now is people seem to think that, teams go in and they set up all this equipment and everything. And then, it's like firecrackers all night long. Boom, 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 boom. It's like, and they don't understand how many hours you may set and wait for
A sparkle.
Yeah.
or a ripple in the fabric or something. I mean, I think people have this illusion that that things are there just to entertain them.
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, I mean, how many times have you waited for hours for, to get some possible thing happen? A good EVP or something move, or maybe the sound of something in another room or whatever. I mean, it's a long shot bet at best in a lot of places. And I think a lot of people just assume, because of the popularity of the entertainment industry now, that it's just a freak show all night long. Austin, like you would say, a Diddy party all night long. It's like
Right. Yeah, it's definitely no Diddy party. I'm always happy if we come away with like one thing. Like, we just filmed at a place, I don't know, at some point in time. I have no concept of time. But it was quiet like the whole night. But we got one thing that I still not explain. I don't know if you ever talked to the owner about that clip. You did?
Yeah.
What'd she say?
I sent her the clip, and it was earlier this month. Yeah. The end of February, beginning of March, whatever. She is going to let her dad listen to it, and then have her cousin, who actually lived in the bowling alley.
Mm.
Anyway, listen to it to tell us what it might possibly be. But she had no idea. No idea.
So that's cool. Just because of something that happened on command. Like we had nothing all night. And I'm just like, when I count to three, and as soon as I go to say three, we have this sound that we've never heard and that the owner hasn't heard, and that very distinct.
And there was no, let's just be clear on this. We had no device. There was no electricity in the building, no
cold.
running water. It was freezing freaking cold. Like we ran out of propane in the heater. And I am sitting there wrapped up in a blanket, freezing cold, gloves, hat, everything. And all of a sudden, bam. And he looked at me and I looked at him and we're both like, what in the what? What was that? And then we stop everything and try and like find out if any of the cameras or anything got it. And it didn't show up on anything.
Oh, wow.
And then no. And then when Austin gets home, he's like, we got it. And I'm like, holy cow. So it was exciting. It was definitely worth that. But I can't tell you, like I fell asleep, definitely fell asleep in the chair waiting for anything, So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it gets that way.
Yeah.
So,
oh, yeah.
those of you that are watching, if you have made it this far, let me know what your thoughts are on the current popularity of ghost hunting, as they call it, and do you believe in the supernatural or not? Leave me a comment below. Yeah, see, here's the thing, like I have gone places and sat literally all night long, and may have gotten something that raised my eyebrow once or twice, or maybe had a device that was picking up a lot, like again going back to being in Franklin, Kentucky. There was one point where the lightning detector that I used to detect energy fluctuation collected an incredibly insane amount of hits. I think it was 120 something hits, in just one area. And, I went back and looked at all of the footage I had from that area several times, and really nothing there. No EVPs, nothing moving, no devices really, being tampered with or anything. And I think, I think a lot of people, when they're faced with these things, kind of go, well, what exactly are we doing? What are we? What's this really about? And they, because they do. I mean, I know when I was early on, when I was doing investigation and research, one of the things that I was always thinking, was like, okay, well, what great thing is going to happen today? I was like my puppy with its tail wagging going, oh, I can't wait. There's going to be some great experience today. Yeah. And, what trick are they going to do for me today? And, at the end of an investigation, sometimes you come out completely drained because there is absolutely nothing audible, nothing notable, nothing rememberable, about it seemingly. And I say that because, there is that occasion where there's things that get missed, and you go back later and you're like, oh, what was that? Case in point, the ball on the floor, behind the table. And the one clip that
Mhm.
we went over at one point, you know, it's kind of like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
You know, when you sent me that clip and I looked at it several times, I'm like, because it's very interesting because where that was shot at, the floor was very shiny, very reflective.
Hmm.
So if there would have been something
Yeah.
interacting, you would have seen it, in the
Right.
reflection of the floor or something. But there was nothing. There was nothing that was perceiving that you could perceive around it that would cause that.
And there
Mhm.
was no that night, it was a very hot night.
Hmm.
There was no air conditioning going in that
Mhm.
room. There was no fan. There was no nothing. Like, there was nothing to create that movement in that room at that particular time. And we weren't anywhere near that room in that particular time. So it's very, it what is that? You know, I mean, it's things like that. It's not the apps. It's not, because one thing that I want to say is the hobby thing, the ghost hunting hobby, the apps and all of the equipment has made it so sensationalized. You know,
Hmm.
people are like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. No, dude, like that's your, that's the word bank in your app. They are not saying X, Y, and Z. I mean, you can download Pictionary. You know, I mean, I'm almost positive somebody already did that, and somebody, you know, got all of all of these words, and it was from the freaking Pictionary app.
Oh
So
wow.
that, yeah, yeah, that's where they get their hype from. That's why they're like, oh my God, you know, they're doing this, they're doing that. No, they're not. Like, you didn't get anything. The place isn't haunted. It's not this. It's not that. Like, I, I don't know.
Well, and so I forget names a lot of times. So the two young guys, Kobe and whatever,
Sam and Colby.
Sam and Kobe, like I've
Yep.
gone in and watched some of their stuff because people have like sent me clips or whatever, and they're like, "You got to watch this," and you know, and like, I just want to go, "What's wrong with you?" Because the responses are so over the top.
It's clickbait. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, unfortunately, it's not what's wrong with them. It's what's wrong with people who watch it because they do it because people watch it.
yeah.
mm,
So, I mean, that's the very unfortunate part. And, you know, they were on Theo Vaughn's podcast and I listened to it and I gained a little bit of respect for them on that podcast because they straight up say, we don't know what the hell we're doing. We're not paranormal investigators. Literally, the only reason why we're doing this is because we used to break into places and then we got arrested too many times. So we found a way to legally do it. And, you know, we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Well, at least
But
they're
then
honest.
but then they go around, they're like, we're visiting the
Aliens.
Conjuring house and they're not even in the Conjuring house. And it's just like, I don't know. And the whole Cody and Satori thing, no. You know, I still want to fight Jason Hollis.
Cody and Satori. I'm
Stop.
what?
He knows it. He got a
Stop
live stream
it.
was talking about it.
What?
Oh my God. Oh, Daniel. Every single time. It's. I can't even say it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna have to do some research because I don't know what that really is, but it sounds like a big shit show.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you go back and you watch, this is kind of like, I don't want to say when Sam and Colby kind of blew up because they were already blown up at this point, but this like raised them big time. Because um, is it Cody, right? Cody and Satori?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they worked at the Conjuring House, like
Mhm.
the OG Conjuring House. And what they would do is they would bring you in, charge you a couple $1,000s, and they would talk to your dead loved ones there. Completely fake. 1,000,000% fake. Been debunked over and over and over again. Even proven that they were reciting information that was incorrect on the internet.
Yeah.
Like pronouncing names wrong, getting the wrong names and stuff like that. And they're reciting the same wrong information.
Mhm.
So they literally had, this is the only time I've ever felt bad for Sam and Colby, because they were literally bawling their eyes out on this episode because they were talking to their dead relatives. And like I said, they would go all around, charge people thousands of dollars for this, completely fake. And it was disgusting. And that just happens to be Jason Hawes' daughter. And Jason's like, oh, no, she's legit. She is so real. I was like, dude, go screw yourself. Like, you're supposed to be a figurehead in the paranormal world, and you're spreading this BS. You're just as bad as she is. So,
Yeah.
Right.
I'm still fired up about that because they're still doing it. Like, don't take advantage of people, especially when they're grieving.
Yeah.
Don't be a shit person. That's all I ask. Like, if you want to go out and you want to fake stuff, that's fine. Go ahead and fake all you want.
But
you could be like a lot of those channels, but yeah, no, that's disgusting. Like, that should be,
that's our biggest,
they should not be allowed in a single location ever again.
Yeah, that's our biggest issue with anybody, period. Like, like Austin said, if you want to fake it, then fucking fake it. Like, go ahead. But don't prey on people. And that's exactly what happens. And that's the same thing with psychics, like psychic mediums, shit like that. They prey on people that have recently lost someone, and they probably even prey on people that haven't recently lost someone. They are still grieving. They're like, oh, okay, you are susceptible to X, Y, and Z. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to come in and we're going to make you think that we're talking to your grandmother or your cousin or, heaven forbid, your nephew. Like, seriously, it's irritating. It's irritating. It gives good people that want to help others a bad rap. Like, honestly, what do they say? One bad apple can ruin a whole bunch.
Right.
Like, there seems to be more and more in not just the paranormal community, but the world in general. So
yeah, and there's a huge psychological impact on those people that they help, because now they're no longer able to actually grieve, because now they're like, oh, I got to go pay this person $1,000 so I can hear from so and so again, or I gotta. They're totally stunned from that process. Yeah, and it's just like they're never able to deal with what they're going through, and meanwhile, this person knows it.
Yeah,
it's like a drug dealer. It's like they're selling fentanyl.
Yeah,
like that's what it is.
Right. Well, and so, I've had experiences before where, actually on a live once of all things, where somebody I was interviewing, his grandmother came through and was standing behind him. And I pointed this out, and I was like, I kind of described her a little bit, and I think like a week or two later, somebody else pointed the same thing out to him during an interview, and he came back and he was talking about it a little bit, and I was like, dude, let's back up a little bit here first. Well, like, I see a lot of things from time to time, and there are times when I don't see anything. But I don't have a reason for why these things happen. I just know that they happen at times. And so you have to, when and I hate for people to use the term psychic medium with me. It absolutely drives me up the wall, and not a Gary, Indiana way. Okay. I can't. It is like, that's one of those terms that is so triggering to me because so much BS is wrapped around it. It's like a big old sausage ball with a slab of bacon wrapped around it.
Right.
Every time I hear that, I just go, why did we even put these words together?
Yeah.
And you're right, Austin. It literally is peddling BS, a lot of BS to people in a very damaging way.
Yeah, I mean, the difference is I don't know if people with abilities exist or not. I'm not going to say one way or the other, but the difference is like you said, every once in a while you might have something where you see something, you hear something, which very well might be something that we all have built into us. Some people just realize it more. I don't know. But that's I'm not going to be able to come to you and give you $500 and say, hey, I need you to talk to this specific person. Bring them here now, right here. And especially if we're talking about a place like the Conjuring House where they say there's all these demons, I don't want my grandpa to be in this place filled with demons.
Right.
Why would I ask for that? And then how are you going to get him here? Do you have like a bus, a ghost bus that brings them here? Like I none of it makes sense. But there's a huge difference. But then people like you who, may see things from time to time, now they're looking at you like, because you're one of them, right? You're a psychic medium now. Like,
right.
No?
All right. That's one of the reasons why I wholeheartedly reject that. When people use that terminology, I'll be like, not today, Satan. We're not going there.
Right.
Because you just can't. First of all, like I said, I don't know why these things happen. I don't even know. I'm not even sure how they happen altogether. But what I do know is that from time to time stuff happens that doesn't make sense. Experiences, smelling cologne, whatever. All of those things happen that don't make any sense. And I have a coworker who is a blood relative of Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet. And we've talked a few times in the past about, what do you think about this, or what do you think about that related to Edgar Casey? And and I've had to say a few times, honestly, Casey got some things right, but he got a lot of things very wrong.
Right.
And as a result of that, there were people harmed in the process, some psychologically damaged at times because of these things, predictions made and so forth. And that's one of the things there, that word alone, prediction.
Yeah.
Like when people start predicting things,
Yep.
I think that's a very dangerous game to play because, first of all,
it's like Heaven's Gate.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's all do this and we'll jump on this UFO hunting and the tail of this comet, and go to paradise or whatever. I mean, you can feed people a lot of crap. Case in point, you guys did a segment and a show about Jim Jones.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and Austin, you and I talked extensively at one point about Jim Jones and the psychological bridge that put him from where he was as a kid to where he became at the end of his life.
Yep.
And there was a lot of variables that led to that event, that tragedy.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, is somewhere along the line, he played those people very well up until the last moment,
Oh, definitely.
and regardless of what the reason was, regardless of what the his motivation was at the beginning, the ends justify the means, so to say, in a sense. It's like what happened as a result of all of that was not okay. I
Right.
mean, people lost their lives in the process. A lot of people,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and so when we're playing with these things, when we're playing with the matches, we have to understand that you play with something like that, especially a near an accelerant, it's going to cause damage. It's going to cause critical damage. And I think a lot of times that's what happens with with this community. We have people playing with matches in very dangerous places. They don't understand what they're capable of doing, or what the message that they're sending is capable of doing to the psyche. And in the end, you wind up with some very ugly messes sometimes. Case in point, I mean, Sam and Kobe having to endure, what they had to endure at the hands of somebody who was, basically feasting off of them for the night.
Yes.
I mean, we can sit there and we can point fingers and we can laugh at these guys all day long, but the end result, is still the same. Even they can be, a game for people, a target for people at times to do those things. And I think for me, it's really hard for me to sit there and endorse, the paranormal, without saying, but, but, in the end, we still don't know what we're dealing with. We don't have the answers. All the gadgets and gizmos, all the lights and sounds and bells and whistles and all that, without collecting the data and doing the research, doing the investigating, asking the questions, we don't have answers. There's no way to get the answers. You have to go through the process, and it's a scientific process that you should go through to get this. And I think a lot of people just assume that, oh, my cat ball just went off. So, and they haven't done anything to take readings ahead of time to see what their baselines are, any of that. How do you know?
Yeah. And so I was talking to someone the other day. He used to be a member of TAPS, the family, not the show. And he had years of investigating, and it was like every day they were out somewhere. And we were talking the other day. He was like, dude, I didn't know this was a thing. I was like, yeah. So when we were at Jim Jones Church, for example, there was points in time where my cameras were picking up audible voices. And I remember because I was watching the one in the attic, and I'm getting these voices loud and clear, and I'm like, what? What is this? So the first thing I always do is I go and I check, number one, where we're at, what we're doing, everything. So we've got a minimum of 4. I think we're up to like 11 now.
Yeah.
No, 9 now. 9. Something like that, cameras that we keep around the area. So I'll go through and I'll flip through every single camera at that time stamp and see what's going on. And I started realizing it's on all these cameras. And so I reached out to my friend Brandon. I'm like, dude, what's going on with this? Because he's super scientific, the person who I trust when it comes to anything paranormal. And he was like, well, he said, what's in the area? I was like, I don't know. And he said, is there a police station or a cell phone tower or a TV station in the area? And I looked, and sure enough, there was. And he said, you're picking up the chatter from them. And I'm like, how? these are recording straight to an SD card. How am I picking up wireless signals? He's like, dude, you'll pick it up on your audio recorders too. And so my buddy John was like, dude, I never knew that I could pick these up on an audio recorder. I was like, dude, I didn't know either until I caught these voices on 4 cameras at the exact same time in complete opposite areas. And then I realized, oh, literally right across the street, there's a police station. And right in the front yard, there's this giant cell phone tower.
Yep.
How I can pick that up, I don't know. But I will say, the one thing that it did kind of confirm to me is the theory of EVPs existing, being able to record frequencies and play them back that you can't hear at the time. So to me, that was cool. That was like, okay, so you can record frequencies and then play them back later and then hear them. But what are those frequencies?
Right. Well, and it goes back to the whole, WOW thing.
The WOW signal?
Yeah, the WOW signal. People like that was, I remember when all that was a big deal. Oh my gosh. It was like never, it like people rarely talk about it now, but there was a point where like every time you turned on the TV, they were talking about it.
Well, they say, and this is really cool, they say that, especially because in space, there's basically no resistance. So there is a way, if we could get far enough out in space, we could have a repeater of some sort, and we could right now be listening to the very first show on the radio ever. Because it just keeps going.
Yeah.
So, things like that make you wonder, like, I don't know. Could we be listening to a different time? Could
timelines really be real?
Right.
Sorry,
right.
no, that I love that. Because I am a firm believer in timelines. Like, what is deja vu? Like, is it the merging of multiple timelines? Because you can't tell me that you're feeling this way because the shifting of the axes and things like that. No, like there's a reason for deja vu. Like I'm a firm believer in timelines. I really am.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on it.
I know you're not. I know you're not. But
one of the big issues is we give ourselves more credit than we deserve. Our brains are so stupid. You can literally get on the internet right now and find a million pictures that will make your brain explode for no reason.
Yeah, no,
so
I get it.
Our brain's constantly trying to make sense of things. Even though they don't have to make sense, it wants to make sense of everything. It connects point A to point B, and it will do everything it can to try to do that. But that's not saying
just makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean it's very possible. I mean, multiple dimensions, multiple
the Marvel
multiverse,
universe.
The Marvel universe, that could be real.
Seriously.
I mean, there could be a multiverse where Mabel's hosting this right now, and I like to think that's true.
She's laying right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that I guess the thing that to me that really makes me question. So was it the Y-Files? I believe recently did a episode talking about time glitches, and one of the actually my most sought after episode so far, the episode that everybody has gone to pretty much is about a time glitch experience in Valdosta, Georgia, of all places. And this was a time glitch episode that happened with evidence to back it up. And so one of the things that they mentioned in the Y-Files is that magnetic interference can cause front temporal lobe seizures and stuff like that. And it kind of went through this spiel about how, how this might look and so forth. But he brought up a very important point, though. He said, except for the fact that, mass hallucinations and stuff like that does not leave physical evidence. And then he started listing all of these experiences where people had like radiation burns and so forth like that because of the time glitch experience that they had at the moment. And, I think that's one of the things that we have to be like hyper aware of when it comes to paranormal research is, do you have physical evidence to back up what seems to have happened? If you do, is it something that can be explained naturally or not?
Right.
I mean, obviously, not just anything is going to melt metal or leather or something like
Right.
that. Not just anything is going to create, physical manifestations on your skin and so forth. So what are what's the things, what exactly do you have to back up, what you believe happened? Where's your data at? And I think that a lot of times for me is where, when we talk about the paranormal and an investigation, I think it's like I think it's one of those things where we have to, we gotta know that we know. Okay, we gotta have
Right.
evidence of what it is that we believe we're talking about here. And B, if you have the evidence, you have to dig in and find out, is it what makes this up? What are the ingredients here in the evidence?
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people just want to jump right to they want to jump right to the thing, and they don't really want to do the work.
No, plus you don't want to see how the sauce is made, right? Once
Right.
you know how something is done, it loses that magic. I mean, it very well could be that, none of this is real. It just happens when, this molecule meets this molecule on this sort of day and this temperature and everything else. And then it's like, oh man, that sucks. I
Damn
really
it,
wanted to
you
believe
ruined
it was
it for
this.
me.
Right. So, I mean, that's a big part of it too. But if we can figure out what creates it or
Right.
how it happens, then we can potentially recreate these things and, recreate these happenings. Then that's when we start to understand it.
Right. And I think this is one of the things that to me is kind of mind-boggling is you have these places. Pam mentioned the Meadows Project, and actually a couple of people have mentioned the Meadows Project on here at this point now, and and then there's Skinwalker Ranch and Clearview Ranch, all of these places that are just, they seem like they're just magnets for just phenomenal amounts of things going on. And and there's mind-boggling experiences happening there, and people are searching. They're searching for the data. They're searching for the things to try to explain these things away, or try to help us understand what's going on, or so forth. One of the things that's very common with these places that I'm talking about are, and Michelle Sandman, I think you brought up the square portals. This is a very interesting phenomenon to me because it's mentioned. Katie Page has mentioned this before, seeing those as a child. at clear view. Trey has mentioned this before at the Meadows, the square portals, the cube portals. It's a repeated phenomena that's happened in several locations. One of the things that's been attributed to this, and I find this very interesting, is also the same thing that somebody spoke to me about when we were talking about one of their first encounters with the paranormal, where they kept hearing what sounded like a hive of bees, bee buzzing.
Huh.
That sound was emanating from these things, was coming from these portals, these square cubes, and the synchronicity of that, to me, I found very fascinating. How are you getting this phenomena happening and this sound happening with it in multiple locations? I think it's things like that really,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying here, because
Yeah. There's a couple locations that I can think of where they've claimed these portals. One of the big ones being Octagon Hall. And I want to say not your, like, we went to a place not too long ago and there's 5,000 portals there. Not like that, but like where there's a lot of substantiated claims to where Octagon Hall, if you go there, they ask you bring a gun and you don't go through portals, because they say that there's things like Bigfoot that appear there and stuff like that, and they think maybe they go through the portals. And I had talked about investigating there a while back and talked to the guy who ran it. And I told him, I said, dude, if I see a portal, I'm going through it. Like, I'm not staying away from it. Like, I'm 100%, I'm going to it. I'm going through it. Like, he's like, well, what if you die? What if you don't come? I need to know. I need to know. So, it is weird. And I don't know if there's any legitimacy to it, but then again, at the same time, I guarantee, well, I mean, we know that our government's been working on these things, so whether or not they've pulled it off, we don't know, and we probably never will. So, I mean, is it possible? I guess so. Why are they popping up in strange areas like the Octagon Hall? I don't know.
Yeah, Octagon Hall is excuse me. It is it's been a subject of conversation with me and a couple of people lately. There's that area seems to be one of those places, and I know Katie Page in particular, again, had an instance, where I think it was Katie Page had the instance where she saw a Bigfoot, or was that somebody else? Saw a Bigfoot go near one of the black cubes, and it literally like wound up falling on its knees when it got to a certain point, because of the energy and whatever that this cube was putting out. So I find these things very interesting. I find them a point of there's some things like that challenge our imagination, that challenge our way of thinking. And I think those things deserve our attention. And I think that they deserve our, our recognition, trying to understand, what this is we're dealing with. Is this phenomena legitimate? Is it something real? Or is this some kind of, crazy manifestation from people feeding this idea? What exactly is it, and was it source?
Yeah, no, you got a good point. And so there's the big series Hellier, which I was not personally a fan of, but I've been to Hellier, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And number one, I will say it's a very strange place. And, so basically Hellier was like supposed to be this booming town. And then all of a sudden the industries went away and it was just left. And kind of like the big thing there is there's this big bridge that was supposed to connect all the highways. And they just stopped partway through. So you can go up on this bridge, like a roadway, and then it just drops off. It just ends. And when we went there, you sit up there and you see, plain as day, these lights that are like right in front of you, just like shimmering and dancing around. And it is the weirdest thing ever. No explanation for it whatsoever that I could come up with. I didn't believe it. I experienced it, and you could just sit there and just watch this happen over and over again. And that just makes you wonder, like when you said manifesting, could that be? You talk about timelines, and another timeline, could the town be flourishing on that side? You talk about, am I just insane? Well, I know that. But, I mean, that's a possibility too. Or, who knows?
Right. I feel like you talk about the timeline thing and so forth. I think that is one of those places. I want to go back and ask you this before I forget. So when you talk about the lights and so forth, is it similar to the Brown Mountain lights?
So I am somewhat familiar with the Brown Mountain, but you would have to give me a refresher.
And Sam just asked the same thing. Have you been to Brown Mountain?
I have not.
So the Brown Mountain lights, the best way I can really describe it is it's a phenomenon that seems to happen around, I think Brown Mountain is in northern Georgia.
Okay.
So in the Appalachian foothills there, these lights just kind of, they just are. They appear, they manifest like around the top of the mountain, especially in that area, and they just kind of like appear to almost like dance around in the skies there. So are we talking about something similar to that?
Yeah, and the weird thing is that especially we went to this, so right next to the bridge is like kind of like this dirt road, and I think it was dirt, and we stopped there, and we're watching as these lights just kind of move around, and it's like what is going on here? But there's a tree line there behind it, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's like cars or something coming from behind the tree line, but they're like, no. You need to walk a little bit. And we come down this hill and we see where these lights were supposedly at are 30, 40 feet in the air. So it made no sort of logical sense as to where they could be coming from. But they would just appear, they would shimmer, they would, kind of like blink, dance around. It's almost like watching a bunch of lightning bugs, but they weren't lightning bugs, obviously, It was very intriguing.
Yeah. And Pam found the same thing I ran across on the Brown Mountain lights. It's an unexplained sporadic ghost light that's observed right there near the Brown Mountain in western North Carolina, Pisgah National Forest.
So yellow, white, and red. Yeah, that's 100% what it is. Yeah, it's the exact same thing. Yes.
Yeah, and I know some of the most amazing video I've seen of this came from Hellbent Holler. Jesse and Joe Doyle come up with some crazy experiences. And when I went to one of the cons that they were at, and they showed video of the Brown Mountain Lights, and I was just like, huh?
Yeah.
It is definitely one of those things that forces you to kind of go, what am I seeing here? What's happening?
Mhm.
Especially since the phenomena is, it's not just something that happens here and there. This happens
Right.
frequently.
Yeah, because what's that other mountain range? I think it's in Kentucky-ish. Or no, it's not. It's the other big one where they also hear like drums and all that stuff on top of it. Oh God.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Are you talking about the Appalachian Trail area?
I don't remember. I think maybe, but I think this actually might be towards Nevada. Or I could just be totally making this up. I'm not making it up. But there's another like huge, well-known in the paranormal community mountain that they talk about these lights, and they talk about you go up there and you hear drums being played like it's a ceremony.
In Utah, Drum Mountains in Nevada.
But there's a name for it. I forget the name.
Hang on.
Oh my God, it's gonna bug me. Because I knew some people went there and they
Mount
had
St.
recordings of these
Helens?
drums. No.
Mount St. Helen is a very interesting story in itself, though.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to Google this now, or else it's
Like I'm Googling it. It says reports of hearing drums or mysterious drumming noises in mountains, often referred to the Drum Mountains in Utah, or the Drum Mountain in Nevada.
Man, that's gonna bug the crap out of me. Because I can't think of it. Anyways, I'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna hit you up at like 4 a.m, be like, "Hey," I'm like, "What?"
Right, and it's interesting because that Utah and Nevada are both in the area that I've kind of designated as Zone 2 in the United States as far as paranormal activity goes and so forth. Is that whole area, like, again, going back to Clearview Ranch and the cattle mutilations and so forth that took place during the 60s and 70s, that area was a hotbed for all of that. And
Shasta.
Oh yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Mount Shasta.
So Mount Shasta is definitely it's actually a very strong portal area, and it makes up one point in what I call the portal vortex.
Yeah,
the northernmost point there. Shasta is actually where the I Am movement started out at, was from experiences at Mount Shasta that Godfrey Ray King, or Guy Ballard as he was known, had several experiences there with a historical figure known as the Count of Saint Germain, or Saint Germain as we called him, who was later referred to as an ascended master. Saint Germain, among other things, was known for his ability to be able to perform feats of alchemy, turning lead into gold, and so forth like that. So, yeah, Shasta is definitely my personal experience with Shasta was pretty powerful. Like literally the best way and the only way I can describe my experience with Shasta is it literally knocked me on my knees. Yeah. And that was from across the street. So
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to check it out someday.
It's
on the list.
definitely it is a big thing. A very big thing.
Well, it's a mountain, so
Yeah.
those are
Well, not
typically
only
pretty large.
that, but it's actually is it considered an inactive volcano? I think it's considered a dormant volcano.
I think you're right.
There's I believe if you drive down a little ways away from Mount Shasta, there is a hill kind of thing that looks kind of like the top of a mountain that they say is actually the top of Mount Shasta that blew off and landed in this one. Yeah, it's
That
really
makes
wild.
sense.
Yeah, it's really wild. It's like the whole story of Mount Shasta is very crazy. Like if you research it enough, you'll come up with stories that are just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Research. I'm trying to remember. Linda Moulton Howe. This was the lady who really got her start and became very well known from the cattle mutilation experiences there in Utah and Nevada. She was the one that wrote, I believe she was the one that wrote the book Strange Harvest, if I'm not mistaken. Honestly can't remember right off the bat now that I'm trying to think about it. I'm pretty sure it was a book called Strange Harvest, which just, I'm sorry, it gave me every creepy vibe you could get. It's like everything about that she reported in that book. Just, and I remember. So this is a fun fact. I was like 6, 7 years old, and we were driving home from somewhere one night, and so whenever we were in the car driving, especially at night, I noticed like for whatever reason, my adopted dad always listened to country music. He always listened to this one country music station, and I was laying in the back seat, just kind of like chilling, like a kid normally does, staring out the window at the pretty stars and the moon and everything. And the news came on, and they were talking about this like crazy amount of cattle mutilations, unexplainable cattle mutilations taking place in Utah and Nevada. And in my mind, I was just kind of like, wow, that's kind of weird. And, and then of course, years later, I run into Katie Page, and, and we were doing an interview, and she mentioned this, the whole thing was with, Snippy the horse and all that. And it clicked right then and there. I was like, oh my God, that was what I was hearing about on the news that night.
Right.
Was this experience, talk about timelines and how things kind of mesh together eventually. So I always found that very interesting. I think probably for me, the idea of experiences kind of synchronizing like that probably happen a lot more than I care to be comfortable admitting. But yeah, Linda Moulton Howe was definitely one of those people that early on, her research and so forth really inspired me to get into the paranormal community and to um, start doing the things that led me to research and investigate. So I found that very interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I wish we had those still today. Why do we not have any cow mutilations? Like, come
Actually,
on now.
they
The
are.
news is just depressing anymore. Like, someone
We
mutilates some
probably
cows.
still have cow mutilations, Austin.
We
The news
do.
is just covering it up.
They do still go on, today. As a matter of fact, there's a couple of ranches that Katie has talked about in her work that have had extensive
Mm.
mutilations. She talks about one story, and I found this very interesting because she's mentioned this a couple of times, where the guy was out, doing his rounds on the range, um, checking out his cattle and so forth, and I guess he ran up on this one calf or cow that was laying on the ground, and it had, square incisions, a small area that was a square incision, and for whatever reason he left and went back to the house or went to do something, and I think he went to get his wife because he wanted her to see what was going on.
Well, of
And
course.
when they got back, like, all kinds of weird stuff had gone on. Like, there was the cow had actually been actively mutilated while they were gone. So I found that very interesting, that, like, and Katie even mentioned and noticed this too, that, that he walked up on an active event happening, most likely. And by the time he got back, it had taken place, they had done their thing. So I think people assume, because we don't hear about it like we used to on the news and so forth, that these things don't happen anymore, but they are still very active. Not obviously as to the extent, not hundreds of them at a time happening like they were at one point, but they do still happen. And and I think they're still just as alarming, to be honest with you, because we don't know. We don't know what's going on, really. Who's involved with it? What the source of it is?
Could be aliens for all we know.
I mean,
Because aliens are real.
aliens. I mean, is it a government black project? What's
I-
going on here? I mean, that's the thing. Is like there's a lot of what, how, and where's going on with that. So let's talk for a little bit about that. With your work, when you guys are running up against some phenomena and so forth, what questions go through your minds as far as you when you see things happening, or you hear things happening, or you experience something, what are the questions that start forming in your mind about what's happening at that moment? There's got to be, I'm sure you have 1,000 things going through your head at once, but what are some of those things?
I mean, it all depends on the experience and the place and the time and all of the above. I mean, obviously the first thought is, let's figure out what external things could have caused it. If we can't explain that, then what can we document environmentally?
Yeah.
That may coincide with that. It's kind of thought process. I mean, the first thing is, okay, is this something that was caused by something elsewhere? Because it's funny, because we just went not too long ago to a location where I remember we were there for, well, I guess just a day, but it seemed like 7. Um, and the whole night, you know, we're just doing our thing. And then right before we went to do our last investigation, I was like, let's make sure all the doors are locked. Because my biggest fear is someone breaking into one of these places.
Right.
Because people are horrifying. You don't know what they're going to do. And, you know, so I don't know why I thought of it at the end of the night, but I went through and I locked the door. And then we go upstairs, we're doing the thing, and we turn around and I see someone standing there, and I about pissed myself because I know for sure that someone broke in this house is my first thought. And I'm like, okay, what would I do? And then we start to think, okay, wait a second. Doors are locked. There's no way someone could have got in here. It's not a person. So now what? Now what can we do? What can we look at? What can we, you know, yeah, it's difficult because especially the biggest thing is like when you experience something, you got to come down from that high and then think.
What logical explanation?
Right. Because I mean, I still don't know what it was. I didn't know what it was at the time. I didn't know what to do. I just stood there.
Yeah.
Confused.
Yes.
Just so confused. And that was about that. So yeah, I think, but you know, you hear voices or something like that. Okay, what's going on outside?
Right.
Are there devices such as cameras in the location that they could be talking through?
Uh-huh.
It's a little foreshadowing. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think it's very important that you mentioned, like, kind of coming off of the high of it or the euphoria of experiencing things like that, because I think a lot of people, you know, it's hard to imagine, you know, for people who haven't experienced something like that, you know, what's going through your head at the time, you know.
Oh yeah, at the time, nothing. I mean, there's a million things going on, but nothing that's going to be helpful to figuring out what it is.
Yeah.
Because you go into that fight or flight mode. I mean, that's what your brain is wired for.
Right.
Survival. So you see something like that, you're not thinking logical.
No.
You know?
Yeah. And there is this sense of euphoria, like, oh, wow, you know, and wonder, you know, almost a childlike wonder that comes over us. And I think it's very important for people to understand that, you know, at that particular moment, your biggest concern should be survival.
Right.
Because we can get hooked into that feeling, that euphoric feeling, and it can lead to some very dangerous situations, you know.
Well, when I was in Iowa, it was really weird. I saw something and I told Austin about it, and he goes, well, I want to see Slender Man. And I am like, every time that I've talked to anybody about this particular situation, I'm describing what I saw, and everyone's like, did you not run? And I'm like, no, I stood there and I looked at it, and I'm like asking myself, what is that? And then I'm thinking, okay, your brain is telling you that it's one thing, and you know, trying to make sense of it all. And at that moment, I just stood there. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it was like Austin that one night that, I mean, we were at the location and he's like, what did I just see? Like, and the look on his face that night, it was hilarious, but it was also like, holy shit, because I saw the same thing, and I'm standing there and he says this, and I'm like, and all I can do is shake my head yes. You know, I mean, it's one of those things. It doesn't matter because, like you said, your brain is in fight or flight, You know, what do
Mhm.
you do at that particular moment? You know, do you like, oh my God, somebody broke in, or holy shit. Yeah, Mabel,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, it can be, and I think it's very important for people to understand that, you know, because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to, do paranormal investigation for a hobby or whatever because I think it would be fun.
Mm,
And I think it's very important for people to understand, you know, this is not something that you should do for fun or entertainment.
No,
You know,
because it's not.
it
eh,
is it can be
To be
very
completely honest.
it can put you in very bad situations. It can put you in very dangerous situations. It can even put you in situations, that once you're done with it, you're like, what idiot am I?
Yes.
You
Well,
know,
I had a coworker today. She said that she was going to start a new TikTok, and it was going to be trying new things, like different hobbies. And she said, Lydia, you do the ghost hunting thing. She said, can I go with you sometime? And I was like, are you sure you want to do this? I mean, everybody at work makes fun of me because of it. And I'm like, it is what it is, right? And she's like, no, I really want to go and I really want to experience this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, all right. Let's see if you really want to do this after, experiencing one thing, because it
mhm,
is, I mean, there are people that have had experiences that have been life changing, right? In a good way and also in bad ways. There was
mhm,
an experience at a location, um last year, not my personal experience, but we experienced it after the fact. um a specific individual has still been touched by one location here in the town that I live in, so things stick with people, not just spirits stick with people, but experiences stick with people, and they really make you question, okay, am I crazy? Don't answer that, Austin, shut
Yes,
up.
you are. But I gotta say, it's so funny because I think it was the last place we went. This place is owned by this old man. He was like 76 or something like that.
Yes,
And so I love this man. I want to go back just to hang out with him.
he is a good
He's
guy.
fun. But so he gets this place for his wife, and he was like, yeah, I didn't believe in ghosts, and we had these experiences. And he was like, oh my god, this stuff exists. And he was like, I've been through the army, I did all this stuff, I never thought of this. It was like, so how'd that change your life? He's like, nah, I didn't care.
That was his
What?
exact response.
He was like, I
wow,
was just
He was
like,
like
okay.
like it
so
is,
nonchalant
Right.
about it too.
Oh
It
my
was
god, I had to hold it together.
hilarious.
It was
wow.
freaking hysterical. He's like, yeah, I just come in and I talk to him sometimes. It's whatever. I'm like, you went your whole life with not believing in this, and all of a sudden you find out it's real, and you're just like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, it's no big deal.
Literally, what he said.
Oh my god, it was great.
And see, that's the thing though, is like you have people like that who, they almost have like this like openness of
Mm-hmm.
acceptance, and then you have people, who, sometimes unfortunately, have experiences where they just cannot accept it and
Yeah.
will not accept
Yeah.
it. And that's one of
Yeah.
the things that when I say that, I think, we can't stress enough to people that this is not, some fun hobby that you should just jump into just
Mm-hmm.
to, for your entertainment value, because things happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes things happen, in a very detrimental way.
Right.
Yeah. And
then,
it's not only things that happen in a detrimental way, but you also got to think we go to these places with dark history, dark past, stuff like that. And when you come across, for example, in your hometown, Lydia's hometown, when you come across a child who had passed away, very tragic death, and they're telling you that they don't know where they are, they don't know how old they are, they don't know how long they've been dead, they don't know what's going on. That has an impact too. There's an emotional side to it that you have to be prepared for. It's not just I'm going to get punched in the face and scratched. There's also an emotional weight that goes with every single one of these places.
right, right. That's very true. And I think a lot of times, we really, uh, television glosses over those things a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They
Well,
really
it goes
do.
back to that clickbait. It goes back to the what can we say, what can we do to hook the viewer, and take out all of the emotional aspects, I mean, we're so humans, people are so conditioned. I mean, things used to shock us, I mean, now we want that level of thrill. We want that level. I mean, it's like getting on a roller coaster
Mhm.
and riding a roller coaster for the first time, and then you ride it a million times and you still expect to feel that rush,
It's
but
true.
do you?
Nope.
I mean, you don't. You can't get that back. And that's why you seek other things. It's
Mhm.
the adrenaline junkie. It's that high. I mean, it, I hate to say that it can be kind of addicting, going into these places. It it makes me wonder, is that why people label houses demon houses or whatever,
Mhm.
to get that thrill or to
Mm-hmm.
attract those people that are seeking
Mm-hmm.
those things? How much money are you willing to spend to get that
Mm-hmm.
high? I mean, it goes back to preying on the unsuspecting victims.
Wow. So I was saying, what, Pam?
So that's funny because I put out that
Investigating
idea.
nude?
I put
What?
out I put out that idea like 4 years ago to someone that we all know. Uh, and I was like, look, this is gonna happen. What if we like turn like certain plugs into like EMF meters and stuff like that, and
Stop
we just
it right
investigate the
now.
nude? And now they're actually doing it all
I,
these years later. It's a legitimate show.
like, that's absolutely ridiculous. I
That's where
mean,
we're at.
see, it goes to show they want that satisfaction. I mean, be
Mhm.
it what kind of satisfaction? Like, don't yuck anybody's yum, but
Right.
come on now, like, for real. A, you don't have to sit naked and afraid, I mean,
Right, right. And that's
it,
exactly, that's the exact thought that came through my mind when
Mm-hmm.
you said that, was it kind of parodying a parody of Naked and Afraid,
yeah, yeah,
Oh
the
yeah.
ghost version.
yeah, yeah. I just, it's sad and pathetic,
You know,
honestly. I mean, it's a big reason why I don't like movie sequels,
oh my
because there's
God.
no original thought at all.
Right,
I
right.
mean,
And you guys know how much I love the Warrens, and I've always like had a lot of respect for Ed and Lorraine. I know people are probably making all kinds of googly faces right now
Oh
about
yeah.
that, but you know the even with them and their story, the just amazing amount of jackery that went on with that whole
Right.
the Conjuring series and the Conjuring universe, and I've talked with their grandson before. I've had him on the show before, and we've talked about the misconceptions, and the misinformation that went on, not only about the cases, and the locations. Case in point, Conjuring House.
Well, Amityville is a big one that Lorraine Warren was
Oh,
pissed about.
God.
Absolutely pissed about.
Well, it's
Yeah.
sensationalized, I mean, Hollywood, when Hollyweird gets its hands in anything, it dissects and picks, okay, this is what the people want to see, or this is what we think the people want to see. How much money will they pay to see X, Y, and Z if they
Mhm.
think that, Ronnie DeFeo, did all of this shit, it's sickening. You take one person's story or a snippet of a story. It's like
Mhm.
telephone, and it's so convoluted and it's so jumbled up into a giant freaking mess that everyone's like, oh my God, and you're like, it didn't happen like that.
Right.
Like, let's be real,
Right. And I think that, Amityville is a very good example of, a good story gone wrong, so to say.
Right.
I mean, the sad truth is Ronnie DeFeo had some serious issues,
Yeah.
Yep.
with addiction and
Yes.
alcohol. And there was a lot of just very dark illusional stuff going on with him.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, very bad things happened. And people immediately started doing what they do with every situation and trying to, put some, paranormal twist to it.
Oh yeah.
And the result,
Yep.
the Warrens kind of got sucked into that, in a sense, because they were asked to come there by
Right.
a local television station. It wasn't like they were like hanging out, on the internet looking for something to do, and they were like, "Oh, look, here's one. Let's go check
Yay.
that out." They were literally they were asked by this television station to come and investigate this or to look into it or whatever, and and obviously they walked into it relatively naively, and said, "Sure, we'll do this." And the next thing you know, there's this outlandish book and television or movie, going around. Is like, I mean, people were lined up for blocks to go see this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and there were protests. Like the Catholic Church there would be people outside, priests and so forth outside warning people, do not go in and see this movie, and they were actively protesting, this movie being played in theaters and so forth. I mean, it was a big fiasco at the
Yeah.
time. And, here's Lorraine Warren, she's just doing her thing, and Ed Warren obviously could be problematic at times, but, the end result was, they kind of got pulled into this, and it did some irreparable damage to their reputation. I mean, there's things that happened as a result of that they never really recuperated from. And now, I mean, I'm sorry, you have a comedian owning your home, doesn't leave a very good aftertaste from the afterlife. Okay.
Right.
So I can only imagine, from that perspective, what it would be like to be connected to all of that, and to be in the situation where, this is your life.
Yeah.
And let's talk for a second about just how they glamorized the relationship between the Warrens. I mean, they romanticized, Ed and Lorraine and their relationship in almost mythical proportions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the reality is like, I'm sorry, the last installment of the Conjuring universe is nothing near the reality of the situation. Judy wanted nothing to do with the paranormal. She hated what her parents did. She literally just outright rejected the whole concept and thought it would tell people, that it was just bogus, and to bring her into the story the way they did at the very end of the Conjuring series and make it all about her kind of thing, was, to me, really sad and almost blasphemous in a sense. Because what was the message that they sent with that final installment? What good came of that?
I still haven't seen it. Although I loved the first few. Although I also know that it's, not legit. There's definitely some truths in it. But I also love James Wan. If he directs anything, I'm watching it. Yeah, and I mean that just kind of continued, and we see that still with Nesper. And then they went and did.
Hang on.
I have my hang-ups with Nesper now, but when he went and he did 28 Days Haunted, that's when I lost 1,000,000% of all shred of respect. Because now you're torching a legacy, and for what? For some monetary gain, I guess. I don't know, because even though people say this and that about the Warrens, I do firmly believe that they got into it to help people. What happened after that, I don't know. But I do believe that their basis was, we want to help people. That's why they didn't charge for cases. They didn't charge for their speaking events. None of that. It was all pro bono. And, just seeing the way that it's treated now, do I feel like that they might have gotten, kind of, what do you want to call it? Led down the path that a lot of people do when they reach stardom? Maybe. But also, the other thing people don't realize is that who was before the Warrens? So people want to say, well, they just wanted to call everything demons and blah, 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 and they were just trying to make money. Well, that's what was known at the time.
Yeah.
If you talk about scientific fields, what we knew 20 years ago, we can totally contradict now.
Yeah.
Hell, what we knew 2 years ago, we can contradict now.
Absolutely.
Because we learn. And that's the whole scientific method, So I cannot blame them for possibly looking back now and be like, dude, that was clearly not a demonic haunting. That clearly wasn't this, clearly wasn't that. Well, yeah, we can say that now, but we would not have the paranormal field as we have it today if it wasn't for the Warrens.
Yeah, that's true.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, yeah, we had the London Ghost Club and stuff like that, but were people talking about that? That was kind of like really forgotten, like those weird people across the pond, like they were forgotten about. They are the ones who brought it to the mainstream. For better or for worse, it's got to be, I take it for better, because if it wasn't brought to the mainstream, it's just like we talk about the early TV shows that, were completely bogus. But if they didn't exist, most people wouldn't be in the paranormal today.
Right.
So it's kind of a net positive in my book,
Right. Well, and I mean, just to kind of, I guess, bring it to when it comes to the whole thing with Nesper. And I think there was a point where people kind of, I don't know how I really want to put it. So Ryan, forget it, I can never remember the man's last name, who basically, I mean, he was trained by Lorraine. Um, what the heck is his last name? Duvall? No, I don't remember. Anyway, he is still very big with Nesper. Dan, the guy who recently passed, who obviously was very big with Nesper and still is a central point for them. And I know, there's people we know who openly, disagree and even sometimes attack Nesper publicly, for some of their stances, some of the things that are put out there by them and have been put out there by them before. And I get it. I get people were not, that they had kind of a bitter taste in their mouth about some stuff that happened along the way. But again, like what you were saying, ultimately, I don't think the Warrens had a nefarious intention to creating Nesper. I don't think that the Warren Legacy Foundation, I know it's taken different turns over the years and so forth, but I think the underlying mission, like you were saying, is still to try to be helpful to people, people in what they perceive being in crisis, and I think it's very important for us to understand and try to, take a step back when we start getting all judgy about this, and understand that, whatever the perceived motivation is, does not mean that it's the actual motivation.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of people, kind of miss the boat when it comes to organizations like Nesper and the Warren Legacy Foundation. Oh, sorry. Wow.
That was Annabelle.
Right.
Something. And and they tend to kind of camp in that instead of try to move past it, and see something of value there. Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to the Warrens, it's always a kind of a touchy subject for me in a sense, because they played such a huge part, especially Lorraine played such a huge part in me coming to accept, parts of myself in my early years growing up. Lorraine was always a very positive, affirming person who said, this is one of the things about how her approach to things that really gave me much respect for her. She was like, at best, a psychic might be accurate 60% of the time. What's 60% of the time? And she said that's at best. And when you think about that, and you think about the importance that we've given to the psychic community now, to these people, it kind of makes you wonder, I have to go sometimes, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
When one of our forerunners said at best 60% accuracy, and we're looking at these psychic mediums and going, oh, she got everything right she's ever said. And that's not the case. Go back and do the research. It's not the case. These people are not always accurate in what they say, what they predict, what they do.
They
but
knew
yeah,
you would say that.
yeah.
That reminds me of a side-eye guy YouTube episode thing or whatever that Austin had me watch.
Oh yeah, that was a
Oh
good
my
one.
Lord, have mercy.
That's
Okay.
another good one you'll have to watch, where he
It-
brings in 3 psychic mediums into
Three-
one location.
And
Okay.
oh my God, talk about cringeworthy.
Yeah.
Like, it was absolutely awful. The stuff that the psychics were saying. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now? And these, like, there's one in particular who is very well known. I'm like, are you like for real right now? And then another one, there's a raccoon penis. Like, is that what it was? Like,
Oh yeah, the bone thrower.
the bone thrower. Yes, there was
Yeah.
a bone thrower. And then there was another one that was like, I don't know. All three of them. Oh my God. Daniel, you have to watch it. Like,
Yeah.
we will send you the link and you
Do,
have to freaking
yeah.
watch it.
But it's
But
also
that's-
good because it was actually a Sam and Colby thing.
Yes.
And it was good for people to watch because, like, throughout they're trying to get answers from a psychic, but they already knew the answers that they wanted to hear.
Yes.
So they led the psychics to the answer. And then once they psychics gave the answer, they're like, oh my God, that's insane. And it's like, you literally led them there.
Yes.
Like, you just wanted to hear them say it, and then they say it, and then you think they're psychic. Like, no, they just have half a brain to know
right.
this is what you're looking for.
That's great. I'll definitely have to see that.
Yes. Yes.
It's a good one.
Yes. You'll be like, are you kidding me?
I feel that. I definitely feel that. There's a lot of I just keep going back to like thinking about the early years of Sylvia Brown and some of those people.
Yes. Oh
And,
my God.
Sylvia Brown became a big deal again during COVID because she made a prediction in one of her books about something happening that kind of lined up very similar to COVID.
Yeah.
And it got blown so out of proportion. Like, people were literally, like, every platform was talking about it. And it goes back to prediction again, and just because she got very close to some things, they kind of blew it way out of the water. Way out of the water. But yeah, so one of the things that I really want to try to bring up and make note of tonight is, I think we all three agree that, using the words for entertainment purposes only is not necessarily the best choices we've made in the community. I think actually when we use those terms, I think we're doing a big misjustice at times by misleading people in a sense.
Yeah.
We, for entertainment purposes only. Every time I say that, I try to let it sink in and try to understand what we're really saying when we say that. What message are we sending to people? And I realized, because I mean, obviously, like on some platforms, like on here, and so forth, you don't want to give people the impression that you are the authority, or that that
We're not all Zach Baggins.
right. We're not all Zach Baggins, exactly. And I think there's a tendency for people to to get pushback from that sometimes on some of the platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the things that we try to avoid. I feel like that's one of the things we try to avoid in echoing that little mantra all the time. But I think it's also kind of detrimental, like I said. And I think we all seem to agree on that part for sure. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
So
it's it goes back to the whole thing with monkey see, monkey do. In a sense, do we want to present this is a fun hobby that everybody should just do just to have fun and then be entertained by? Or do we want this to be seen as, a legitimate pursuit for knowledge?
And when I think of, like, when I hear for entertainment purposes only, or when, somebody says that, I think of, spoofing, I think of comedy, I think of, let's not take this seriously. And that, I'm not saying that we don't have fun, I mean, because a lot of times Austin and I are cracking jokes and, having a good time. Like, I genuinely, it's not fun, but it is fun. I mean, different aspects of it is fun. But at the end of the day, like, it is we're looking at it in a serious aspect. It's not, hey, let's make fun of X, Y, and Z, or, whatever. Eh, do we make fun of people? Yeah, we do. We most definitely do. But it's the people that I hate to say deserve to be made fun of, because who really deserves to be made fun of? But
I
at
can
the
name
end
a
of the
few
day,
people.
at the end of the day, the people that we poke fun at are legitimate POSs, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly.
Or good friends.
Right, or good
Like
friends,
Craig
right?
and Brandon and all them.
Yes. Uh,
Yeah.
but we don't poke fun at our friends in a negative way, right?
Right.
Like, it's a double-edged sword there, I mean, but we try to stay, as I hate to say, as professional as possible, because this community has gone so far off the rails as far as that's concerned, so
Yes.
yeah.
And I think that's a very good way of putting it, going off the rails. We've definitely done that.
Yeah.
And we tend to do an injustice to, those who've come before us in doing that a lot of times, unfortunately.
Right.
So, and I was trying not to laugh out loud at when you were talking about, do you guys, have fun and cry? Yeah, the EV penis is one of the things I was thinking about. Like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Oh,
I literally was trying not to think about that. Wow.
a classical EV penis.
Oh my God.
It's
So,
possible.
so you when we dial this in, when we're when we're talking about I guess the case for doing the research and doing the investigations, you know, what is a piece of information, or what is a thought that you would like to leave us with tonight as far as the case for doing investigation?
It's a deep question there.
That is a deep question.
And intentionally so.
Yeah. I mean, I guess your question has a couple sides to it. I mean, the point of doing an investigation is obviously to try to figure out what's going on, because there's something going on. We just don't know what the hell it is. But on the flip side of it, it's also to look at the history in these places and learn from it. Because we can learn a lot about ourselves and the world around us by learning about these places and things of that nature. You know, I always go back to one of the places that stuck with me is the Polk House, which we'll be going back to. And the whole story of how you have this Union doctor who is loyal to the Union Army, who ends up taking care of Confederate troops when their surgeon died. And then after their surgeon died, Dr. Polk didn't want to see this man thrown in a mass grave, so he buries him right next to him in his cemetery plot.
Yeah.
And you're talking about two sworn enemies who, I mean, they wouldn't have killed each other because they're both doctors, but essentially they would have killed each other.
Yeah.
And he still had the humility to say, this is a person, an individual, and they don't need to be treated like hogs, I think is how he put it in his autobiography. So, you know, just looking at stuff like that, you can really learn not just about yourself, but the world around you, like what we see going on right now, and kind of reflect on that. So,
yeah.
I have to say the history is a big thing. The story, like Austin said, there's a story to every location. And he brings up the Polk House, and I'm wearing the Randolph County Asylum. That place in itself, that has so much history, so many stories. And where the Dead Chronicles started was from one of the residents in this location whose story was so screwed up and changed throughout the course of years and years and years. You know, people mocked and ridiculed and, I mean, made fun of, you know. And at the end of the day, I mean, her story was almost essentially lost. The person that she was lost, you know. So the history, you know, each place has a story, a legitimate story, not what people make up, but the actual facts.
Right.
yeah. And I feel like people forget that you're going to die.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like, legitimately, you are going to die. Could
That's
be
not a
5
threat.
minutes from now. Could be years from now. But we forget that, I don't know. It's like we lost humanity to such an extent that we don't even realize that we're human anymore.
Right.
And that we are all going to die. And then after that, who knows what people are going to say?
Yeah.
What if you get stuck in a place and people
Right.
treat you a certain way? What if, I don't know. But just realize that we're all going to die. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And the closing line from uh, a very, what I think was a very good remake of a classic horror movie, Night of the Living Dead.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
And the one character looks at the other and says, "They are us and we are them."
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, wow.
Absolutely.
Wow. You know, when you put all that together, you know, it is very impactful. And I think that's a very good point, you know, a very good argument for the case for doing, you know, what we do. You know, wow. And I feel like this has been a very impactful night in a lot of ways. And I think we've touched on some things that, a lot of things that are, you know, important to contemplate, important to, you know, own.
Mhm.
I think we need to take ownership of, you know, the good things and the bad things within the
Mhm.
community.
Definitely.
And I think we need to find a way to make right what we've done very wrong, and a way to accentuate what we've gotten right,
Right.
you know, to a point that is relevant in the time that we're living in, because I feel like we could be so much more
Mhm.
important than just for entertainment purposes only.
Definitely.
You know, and you know, the end of the day, you know, when we're closing up shop for the night, when we're shutting off the lights to go to bed, you know, when we're closing the books and putting down the pencils, you know, the data is done for the day. You know, the impact that we make, you know, it is important. It's very important. You know, otherwise, why would we be doing any of this?
Right.
Mhm.
You know, so I think there's a lot to unpack in everything that was said tonight, and I hope people go back and they really explore, you know, some of the things we've talked about, some of the issues we brought up, some of the experiences we've shared, you know, and how to make this work for us as a community and as a people. You have anything else you want to add tonight before we close out?
We love you, Daniel.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
We do. We love you,
That we do.
Daniel.
I love you too. I love you guys a lot. You are very
Aw.
important in my world. If you'll hang out for just a moment, then I'm going to close this out, and I'll be back with you guys.
All righty.
Okay, guys, thank you for being here tonight, for going through this, wow, over 2-hour experience tonight. Well, this has been very important. I think we have touched some areas that were very important to talk about, and some issues that were very important to bring up. If you have any comments, suggestions, ideas for the show, please leave them in the comments below. Know that I do read your comments, and I do pay attention to what you guys are saying and doing and how you're vibing with the show. And may your journey always be magical.
I've waited for so long to see when you come back to me. Through the wars and battles that were lost, we're born again, it's you and me. The rest is history. Past lives. Past lives. there's something in our